Escape Room is a 2019 horror movie directed by Adam Robitel, and it stars Taylor Russell, Logan Miller and Jay Ellis. Escape Room is one of those horror movies that come out round about the end of January, the start of February, that quite a lot of people ignore and don't go and see in the cinema. I was one of those included, so I waited for the Blu-ray to come out and I finally seen it. Six strangers find themselves in a maze of deadly mystery rooms and must use their wits to survive. The movie starts off by introducing us to the main six characters. One of them is called Amanda.
Hello, Amanda.
And by setting the movie up the way they did, we get to know each character individually. We get to know a little bit about their background, who they are and what they do. With the introduction to those characters, we find out that they're vulnerable people. They've had bad things happen to them in the past, but throughout the film we find out that not only have they had bad things happen to them, but they're also sole survivors of accidents. With the little snippets of backstories for the six main characters, I think they were pretty solid cast members. They were likeable in their own unique way. I'm not going to separate the pros and cons because the movie doesn't have enough pros for me to list, and it also doesn't have enough cons either. I'll start with the elephant in the room. It was obviously inspired by Saw from 2004. It doesn't hold up to the sheer horror of Saw with what we saw, what happened in Saw and the graphic violence in Saw. However, I think that this movie was more intense at times because of the different rooms that they had in the film. It was definitely a lot better than most of the Saw sequels. One thing that wasn't a major issue was the very first escape room was, for me, probably the most intense escape room in the movie, and there on out, each room that they went to was less intense and less scary and seemed a lot easier to get out of and a lot easier to think about how to get out of. It seems to me that they used all their ideas for the very first escape room and then just kind of spread the rest of their ideas throughout the film, and it's kind of watered it down a bit. There was a scene at the very beginning of the film that ended up taking place near the end of the movie. I didn't see the point in that. I can see why they'd done it, but it didn't need to happen. They could have just put the movie all in chronological order. After finding out that the main cast members were sole survivors in accidents that happened in the past, it reminded me of Final Destination. Yes, it obviously reminded us all of Saw, but for me it reminded me of Final Destination about the whole sole survivor thing. And then at the end of the film, or near the end of the film, the two survivors from the escape room were sitting down having a tea after 6 months, and again that reminded me of the very end of the first Final Destination movie with Alex and Claire having a coffee or whatever at a table outside, and then after that they talk about boarding a plane in escape room, and obviously we know what happens in the start of Final Destination. I liked the ending of the film, but it did feel a little cliche, just like most of the movie. We find out that there's a bad guy behind the scenes, we don't get to see his face, and it leaves it wide open for a sequel. Overall, I'm going to say that I enjoyed Escape Room for the most part. I think it was very enjoyable. It kept me on the edge of my seat for most of the movie. There wasn't really any downtime in the film as soon as they got to the first escape room, so that's one big massive positive for me. But on the flip side, it's one of those movies where you've seen it all happen before. You've seen it in other movies like Final Destination, like Saw, so it wasn't very original. I wouldn't have minded going to see this one in the cinema, but I'm glad I waited for the Blu-ray. It wasn't one that I was wanting to rush out and see, and it was just an overall good movie. Will I forget what happens in this movie after a year? Probably, unless they bring out a sequel. So did you guys see Escape Room? And if you did you think it reminded you of Saw? Probably. And also, did it remind you of any other horror movie? Leave the comments down below, let me know what you thought. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, I'll see you soon, bye bye.